Oh non, ça devait être un pic-à-caisse, ça pue.
Oh non.
Hi! Greetings! Let me know if you can hear me, please. Awesome. I'm just getting my apron on and my sleeve protectors. All right. So this is the drawing that I've traced. This is the sketch that I worked on last week. So during the week I took this and transferred it to watercolor paper. I also took some time to work on color reference because, full disclaimer, I haven't painted something like this in a great long time. It's been a while. So I wanted to have an idea of what I'm gonna go for in terms of colors before just starting on this. I'm looking for a brush. I'm not quite sure what kind of brush I want to use for this. I have a very old Kolinsky Sable by Winsor & Newton. And I think I'm gonna maybe use... I don't know. I just don't know. I took out the M-gram paints for this, and my palette is pretty big, so it's kind of a tight squeeze on the desk. And yeah, I don't know if everybody is... any questions? There's quite a good delay between me and the video catching up. And if you can hear this, that's Pecco. Why? Yeah. It's feeding time. That's why she's making a lot of noises. She wants the food. C'est pas grave, hein, c'est drôle.
Vous en avez combien?
2 fois. Alright, I'm gonna use this special Da Vinci mop that was made for the Haradam anniversary. It holds a lot of water. There, you have the culprit. The crazy kitten. So cute. Pipette. Alright. Let's get started. First thing I want to do is I want to make a very faint vignette effect. So I'm just going to wet mostly the edges. I don't expect this drawing to survive me painting it because, like I said, this is something I haven't done in forever, so I expect it to go wrong at some point. But yeah, we're gonna figure it out. So I'm gonna take a bit of dioxazine purple, and not that one, Queen Violet, and I'm gonna go find a piece of scrap paper. Scrap paper. Right. Hello everyone coming in. Hi. I'm a righty, in fact, so the palette should be on the right. But no, I prefer to. I'm good like this, and there's less chance of me like putting my arm in the palette, and I think this is kind of always how I work. And also because of the way the desk is set up and the camera is set up, this is sort of the only way I can fit this and the drawing and have both be fully in the frame at the same time. So I don't know how noisy it will be, but I'm gonna try to dry this up with the hairdryer a bit. If it's too intense, I can just mute the mic for a second or two. I think I'm gonna do that. Hold on. And there you go. All right. So the next thing I'm gonna paint, I think, is gonna be the background in the window and the wall. They are the lightest thing in the drawing, I think, so I think I want to start with them because if anything overlaps or if they bleed into the other areas, it's not gonna be much of an issue. And I'm gonna switch to the Kolinsky Sable brush. This one is fairly old. I think it might be either one my friend lent me long term or my great aunt gave to me. Well, gave to me. She passed and I got all the watercolor stuff. So I think this is Queen Pink. I hope everyone is having a great weekend so far. Over here it's snowing like crazy. Like yesterday it was raining, but today it's snow. Lots of snow. I think I'm gonna add the smidge of yellow just to bring it closer to my test color. Yeah, let's use that. Did you Mickey, did you try washing the brushes with the master soap? Because when I got my aunt's brush, they were pretty used up. Like they were dirty. They were not in the best shape. But I washed them with the master's brush soap, and it really made a difference. I think I'm gonna switch back to this big brush. Problem with the M-gram paints is that they are so pigmented. It's so difficult to dose the color properly. Yeah, it's a pretty big palette. It's a pretty cheap one too, which is kind of a bummer, because it's just like this plastic thingy that I'm always afraid I'm gonna step on it or break it. But yeah, it's great to have a big palette for just to put the brush in something and not feel like you're gonna ruin the brush after painting one thing. Because the smaller pans, they're great, but not so much when you want to paint bigger things. Nice day to stain and paint. Yep. If the brush loses paint on the handle, my go-to solution, which is really simple, is to just wrap washi tape around it, because washi tape is really resistant to water for some reason. And yeah, or trying to think what I did with my... The problem I had with the old brushes was mostly that the ferrule was loose, and for that I used washi tape as well. Is this the John Pike palette? This is this one, the Robert E. Wood palette. Oops, that's gonna be upside down possibly. Well, wrong way around, but it's the Robert E. Wood palette by Speedball, and it's really just plastic. I mean, it's fine, but you gotta find a place where it's gonna be safe and it's not gonna be stepped on or dropped or anything, because I'm not sure it would survive. But mind you, I don't think a porcelain palette would survive either. So far the thing I'm noticing about the painting is that working with the edges taped, but the paper that hasn't been stretched beforehand, it kind of buckles. It's not... It feels lighter than 140 pound. This is Honeymule paper, cold press, and it kind of buckles and puddles a bit. I don't mind, but it's not... It's perhaps not ideal, so I'm gonna have to figure out a better way to paint. But I hate stretching paper, and I really hate the gummy craft paper thing. Ugh. Alright, so next thing is gonna be the background, which is kind of a forest. Very loose shapes of trees. So this is ultramarine pink. It's kind of a bit like all ultramarines. It's not the strongest, but it's a very nice color. I'm gonna add a bit of ultramarine blue in it just to get the shade closer to what I want. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'm not sure I have an answer, but I'll try. This brush is the juiciest brush I've ever used. I got a lot of synthetic brushes, and this one came with the paint set. And it's natural hair, I think, and it's pretty amazing in terms of water retention. I mean, I haven't painted enough with it to know if it's amazing on its own. But I really like when mops, they keep a point. Like I've bought some mops that don't keep points, and I don't see... I mean, it really limits the usability of a brush, because you can't do everything with it. I don't know if it's me who's really terrible at painting inside the lines, but sometimes I feel like I manage to paint around the line, and when I look at it later, the paint has bled into the shape. But I think that's just me being really bad at this. There's also quite a glare with the lighting, so it's kind of hard to say. I can't really put my face over the painting because then you'd get a shot full of hair, which is not nice. It's really hard to paint with a big brush. I mean, it's great, but it's kind of difficult to control. You gotta choose the brush in function of the size of the thing you're painting. Like if you use a very small brush, it's gotta be for details or a very small painting. But if you use a bigger brush, you're gonna have a hard time doing details with it. Even if it has a super nice point, I mean it's gonna hold so much water that it's gonna be difficult, and it's much easier to paint outside the lines. But then again, I'm not super good at it, so. Sometimes I'll just don't care, and if the color I know I'm gonna paint over a wash is gonna be much darker, I will just not care about painting around the shape. Because you gotta work fast too if you don't want to have brush marks or weird things, weird patterns going on. Alright, what is your favorite brush? I don't know. I haven't painted enough to figure out what is my favorite brush. I should use my super nice brush rest. There. Can anyone ask Dan why the sound is off? I'm curious, but I can't ask because he's not gonna hear me. Alright, this is not very dry. This is definitely not dry because I just painted it. A bit stuck. I'm gonna see about painting the lighter stuff in this table area. And I think I can reuse some of the colors in there. This one. I really don't know about the silver black velvets. I have one somewhere, but it is so soft and it doesn't really spring back to any kind of decent shape, so I think I removed it from my current rotation of brush, but yeah, it's so soft. I really don't know how to use it. If you want paints that will give you the greatest bang for your buck, I think go for Mgram, because the pigmentation is kind of unbelievable. Like, I keep having to water stuff down when I want lighter shades, because even if it looks light enough on the palette, it's really dark. And I know watercolor dries lighter, but still. Oh, okay. Oh. I see. There's another thing I like about putting color everywhere when I paint, even outside the lines, even over other items, is that when you paint these items in, they will fit in better with the general atmosphere of the piece. Like the colors, they will fit with each other a bit better if you use like a base color on things. It's also a good excuse because, like I said, I can't paint nicely within the lines. Question: I have a Zen brush and I feel that it drinks the water while I'm using it, and I never have mixed enough. I don't have that problem with other brushes. Is it, I use a Zen brush like most of the time when I'm swatching colors and doing the stuff you see in the videos. It's this one. It's a Royal and Langnickel Zen round size 8, I think. It's a synthetic brush, so so it shouldn't drink too much paint or water, but then again, I don't know what's the size of the brush you're using. So if it's a bigger brush, yeah, you will have to mix a lot more color, because bigger brushes means more paint will be in the brush. I think it's just a habit to form when you use a brush. You see how it behaves, and the more you use it, the more you can sort of figure out how much premixed paint you're gonna need. The size 8? I don't really notice my size 8 brush drinking a lot of paint. The cat is making sounds in the background. Did I start earlier? I couldn't figure out what time I started last time, because for some obscure reason YouTube doesn't tell me. So Grace, if you if you have the information, tell me what time I usually start, and I'm gonna make this the constant, the standard. So, do you think we should find names for this cat witch and this little mouse? Should they have names? I know that in Val's live stream we have the pretty awesome Bernadette, but I guess that for these live stream for now we're gonna have these two. I really love the Escoda brush. I've started using them a bit more lately because I have this one. It's Escoda Reserva Klinsky again, and I have the travel one too. And I really like to use the size 6 to paint stuff and the size 1 to line. But yeah, I'm kind of in a phase where I try a lot of brushes, and I'm trying to see which one I like the best. Sorry. The cat should be Cookie or Twinkles. So we got Cookie or Twinkles for the cat. I'm thinking it's a lady cat if it's a witch. That's the other cat making noises in the background. The mouse looks like Rogers. Chewy. The mouse could be Percy. I kind of like Rogers for the mouse because it's kind of silly. Like, I don't know, it makes me laugh. Oh, the cats are... the cats are being crazy. Chewy the cat? Chewy is Sarah's dog. Or Chewbacca. Zephyr? That's a good name. Twinkle and Rog? That's kind of awesome. Twinkle and Rogers. I'd say Artemis for the kitty. I like Bernadette. Yeah, my cats are being super noisy because it's feeding time. Feeding time is usually from 11:30 to 2 p.m. And yeah, they let us know. The cats are replying to the questions in the chat. Yes, I think so. They are recommending not buying cat hair brushes. And you really would like to have some more food, please. But I mean, they're not hungry for reals. They just want the food because they like the food. Belinda the witchy cat, Belladonna the cat, Twinkles because there is a twinkle when she casts. That's really cute. I mean, these guys are gonna have some pretty silly adventure. So, like, we could easily give a name like Belladonna to the witch cat aunt in the portrait, like someone more serious. But I think this one and the mouse, they're gonna be like much sillier. If I follow the logic of the last of the stream where we drew them, last week, yeah, it's gonna be much sillier with the mouse passed out on moonshine and all the silly adventures. Yeah, I think I could make a lot of things with the hair that these two lose. They shed a lot, but their hair is super fine and super soft. So it's really, it really gets in your face and stays there. So there's always a price to pay for a face full of cat. Yeah, well, I work from home, so the cats, they have a different food schedule, and it was, we set it up when one of the cat was having a lot of issues with vomiting her food, so we would give them smaller meals but more meals during the day. Then we figured out why she was sick so often, so now she's no longer sick, but they are really used to having many meals in the day. They're like hobbits. Do you use a reference image for the background? I had a bunch of references that I that I found for inspiration on this piece, but it's not referenced from one image. It's kind of made up. Make a zine about them too. I could, but I would need much more drawings than this one. So we have a lot of work. Hello, kitty. Hello. Salut, good. She's just out of reach. Would you hate me if I nicknamed the cat Twinkie? No. So, yeah, it's a bit hard for me to track the fifth breakfast, exactly. The 11 C's. Yay, silly hubcap. I think I'm a silly person usually, but it might not show much in my videos. Okay, so next. This is fairly dry, so I think I'm gonna work a bit on these details. I should have asked Val or one of the moderators to keep track of all the suggested name and send them to me after the chat, because it's kind of hard to track stuff and paint at the same time. But I guess I can always check the chat when I'm done. Okay, so one of the plant is like catnip that's drying. Question, will you be making an updated Swatch book tour? Possibly. I need it for reference? What? What kind of reference would you need someone else's Swatch book? Oh, thanks, Val. Much appreciated. Alright, so I'm gonna have to flip this around. to see how colors from different brands look in reality. The thing is, you always gotta keep in mind too that this is how they look on camera, and that there's might be a bit of a difference in color due to my settings and my computer and my camera and the lighting. Thanks, Val. The other plant is kind of a very muted rose, yellow color. It is pretty difficult to get the white balance and the colors for a live stream. My webcam is not... it's a webcam. It's a good webcam, but it's just a webcam. It's not a camera that's super fancy, so that's why it's probably a bit blurry and kind of not exactly spot on for the colors. But also, like, I know that my computer screen is super bright, so I always try to take that into consideration. Like, if something looks just right on my computer, it's gonna look a bit dark on other screens possibly. Alright, so it's time to paint this silly little frame. I got cat noises in the background again. This being a bit of a big and old brush, it doesn't quite hold a super nice point. So for really small details, it's kind of really difficult to get the level of precision I'd want. Is what you're wearing an art smock or just a sweater? It's a sleeve protector. I don't know if that will register, but it's basically a tube of fabric with an elastic band at the wrist and another one near the elbow. And it's a cooking thing. Like when you cook and you don't want to have sauces and oil that splatters on your sleeves, you can wear that. But since all my sweaters have kind of droopy sleeves, I always end up with paint everywhere, so I figured I could buy them and use them. And I also got an apron on because, yeah, painting is messy. No blur for the camera. Oh, cool. Go follow Eve on Patreon because she never advertises it. I don't I suck at advertising, I'm sorry. It's just, it's there, it's a thing, it's at the end of every video. Eve, at least you don't have a dog barking who sounds like a seal. That's true, but I have a cat who's very loud. I have 2 cats who are very loud, actually. So, yeah. I think a dog barking that sounds like a seal is pretty awesome. It's pretty funny. I'm so used to having everything on the opposite side of my drawing hand that I keep looking for my my rag on the wrong side. It's on the side of my drawing hand, so I keep going this way for it, and it's not there. Moon the seal hound dog. I don't think that's the color I was expecting. Holy jeeps, it's so intense. Like, Graham paints, you have to learn how to paint again. Like, learn from scratch, because, wow. Question, opinions on Natural Viridian PG-18. It's a very pretty color. I think it might be preferable to keep this one in the tube if you can, because I think it's quite hard to re-wet in the pan. Like, I have a few like that I don't have in pans. One of them is Potter's Pink by Winsor & Newton, and one is Terre Verte by Daniel Smith, because I know that these are usually pigments that dry really hard, and well, it's just not fun to wait 20 minutes for a paint to soften enough, so I keep them in the tube, and when I need a bit I just press a bit in my palette. Oops, this is not completely dry yet. Oh well. I don't think I've tried making paint with Natural Viridian. I don't know, maybe Dan has? Grace is saying that Eve, oh, I was wondering if you'd be interested in doing a one-color painting with whatever you'd like. Seems like it'd be a great value study. Yeah, sure. I mean, I've done some black and white paintings, so I guess it's basically the same logic. That's cool. Thanks, Val. Just we can talk about this more in Messenger. But that's cool. I don't usually put glycerin in my paints. I just try to the furthest I go is when something is really dry and won't stick in the pan. I just had a bit of binder at the bottom and glue it back on. Yes, there's a cat. There are 2 cats actually. pas des choses à dire. Don't use Viridian, please. It's highly carcinogenic in powder form. Oh, good to know. I really try to stick to pigments that are safe. So when I shop for them, when I see that something is has warnings on it, I just don't buy it. I have a very small space with no ventilation and 2 cats, so yeah. Hi Lee. Hi Pat. I think the cat is providing the commentary in my place. She has a lot of stuff to say apparently. I think if we could translate it, it would all be stuff like, I'm hungry, where's my food? I need my 4th lunch. Rah, give me food. The cat has started a routine of, don't ignore me, I'm here, look at me, pay attention to me, give me stuff that I can eat. I just gotta pretend to be standing up and she's gonna run away, and then she's gonna come back, and then if I try to stand up again, she's gonna run away again. Cat drama. Yep. The cat doesn't want pets though, it wants food. So the next thing I'm gonna paint is gonna be the table, I think. Yeah, I don't know, my cats, they don't really notice when there are cat sounds coming from a speaker. But, I mean, it's really funny when cats think there's something there try to find it. This is, I can't see which color this is, but it's a very pretty one. Yeah, exactly. Like if you don't want to get up to feed them because it's not time for it, you just pretend to get up. You just move a bit, and well, they run away. Thing is that they come back. So. Ouch! Val says that one of the porch kitties who adopted them smacks her. Like it wants food and smacks with its claws out. Ow! That's more like it, I think. Yep, she's going crazy. I'll look at chat in a minute or two because this is pretty intense work where I try to paint fast enough to not let it dry, but then again there are many things to pay attention to, like all the cheese crumbs. I think I'm gonna have a mark here because I waited too long. Oh well, it's gonna be wood pattern. Alright, I can look at chat now. You might have to post your question again. The first message I can see completely is from Sage Mage, and it's the I never noticed. So yeah, question: how did you decide on the colors you wanted to use for this piece? I fiddled with it until it was decent enough. I mean, I started with putting some colors and then I adjust them digitally until it's closer to something I like. I did not have a specific plan. Okay. I don't... Did I flip the drawing? I don't think I did, but it probably flipped on camera. Yeah. Yeah, for me the cat is facing right on the actual drawing. So I know I missed a question, but I can't really scroll. So yeah, if I haven't answered your question, please ask again. Copy paste it, it's fine. It's not printed, I traced it. I printed the sketch and then I used the light table to trace. I'll try to figure out the camera settings so that maybe you see the thing the proper way next time. There was a bit of a mess at the beginning because the camera, the webcam, like I haven't changed anything, but it decided not to work. So I had to run around a bit and try to figure out how to make it work. A bit at the last minute, but not at the same time. Like it was working. I had no reason to think that it would not this time. Oh, vegan watercolor recommendation. I don't know. What I can say about that is that I know Denise has been working on a video about that. So yeah, that is probably going to be an amazing reference for vegan paints and supplies. I'm trying to think of brands that I know are vegan. I think Holbein is, with the exception of their black that uses charred bones. They don't use honey in their paint, so there's that. I know of like Amé's paints are vegan. Everything eventually mixes. Eventually everything mixes. She's making handmade paints. It's an artisanal craft, and they're really nice. And I know that she makes them vegan. I know that there's a Canadian brand that makes vegan paints that's called Colors of Nature. Aside from that, I think it's best to wait for Denise's video. Question: for those coming in, what paper and paints are you using? I'm using a Honeymule paper press. I'm not sure about the weight, but it feels slightly thinner than 140 pounds, and it's cold pressed, but it's a very fine grain. And the paints are M-gram. I think Core might be vegan. I don't know if they use something else than their binder. because in regular watercolor the binder is gum arabic and it's perfectly plant-based, but it's the added honey that's the problem. So I don't know if Core had something to their paints. They don't feel like they have honey in them because they are very solid, but I don't know for sure. This is another reason why my painting is not stretched and taped. It's because it's kind of a large size if you compare it to what I usually paint, like in my sketchbooks and everything. And I really enjoy being able to flip it around and turn it. And if it's taped to a bigger like wood surface or something, I'm not going to be able to do that. Like I said, painting in the lines. Much harder than it seems. Have you tried Colors of Nature, Miki? So, spoiler, I have a few Colors of Nature paints too that I have to try and review. And I'm really excited because they are handmade, vegan, and Canadian, which is nice. I mean, I really like when I can encourage a local business. What are lines and why should I paint in them? Oh gee. Was there a questions about supplies for a beginner? Oh, vegan paints for a beginner? Well, you could have them if they have access to them. They could buy just a few colors of Holbein, like the famous printer primary, a good magenta, a cyan, and a yellow. And I mean, around here the 5 ml tubes are about $6 Canadian dollars. So let's say that for $20 you could have 3 colors and the paintbrush. And unless she gets a black, which is not something a beginner should get, they should be vegan. I'm thinking that next time I should perhaps use masking fluid for the straight lines, because I got really poor control apparently. Hi Heather. I think white knights use honey in their paints, so they wouldn't be vegan. So, I noticed that I think I'm over an hour live, so I'm gonna be wrapping this up soon, and it's not quite finished. So again, I was wondering, would you rather I continue painting this next week, or the next step after painting, I think it's gonna be to use color pencils to sort of ink it up. So which do you think would be more interesting? To see the rest of the painting, to see the step with the color pencils, or to start on a brand new drawing featuring these two? Keep painting this one, so I would pick up from this one next week. So continue. Oh, right, awesome. Yeah, that works for me. I mean, the paints, I'm gonna just let the palette dry, and it's gonna be the same colors next week, just dry, so yeah, that can be done. And it's gonna be nice to let this completely dry before I add any more paints on top. So yeah, next week we're gonna be painting the fun stuff, actually, like the character and the cat and the mouse and these couple of items here. And there's not much left, I think. If you look at it, there's the characters. The mouse is pretty simple, but the cat, a few props, and maybe a couple of touch-ups here and there to add them a bit more appeal before I add the colored pencil. Alright, sounds good. In the meantime, I'm gonna take a look at the list of names, and I'm gonna choose two for next week, so we have names for these guys. So yeah, so that's it so far. That's where I'm at. I can show the color reference. It's not exactly the same, like you're gonna be able to see the differences. I think if you look at that, this is not exactly as pink as this, and same for the leaves. And this part is not painted yet, but the window is fairly similar. The wall is fairly similar. I think it works even if it's not the same. But yeah, there's still a couple of things missing. I'm wondering if I'm going to use a bit of gouache too at the end to add the highlights from the candle on the stuff around here. Yeah. I think I want to show you a very last fun thing before I close this up. I'm going to use the scrap paper. You guys remember the Molotow masking pens? Like these guys? They're actually super fun to use. I really like them. Like you basically pump the nib a bit to get a flow, and that gives you masking fluid. They can get a bit clogged up at times, but they are super easy to clean up, and you just pull it apart, clean it up, and work it again. This one is new. It's a bullet nib, but I want to show you something really neat with this one that I hope is gonna work. But I recently tried to see if I could fix it, and I added a super fine nib in it. So you can get like really fine masking fluid nib. I think it needs to be cleaned up again because it clogs up really fast, this one. But yeah, I just wanted to show that because I think it's pretty awesome that we can have drawing tools with nibs in them and switch it up and have really super nice degree of control. Like it's this nib. It's this super fine plastic nib, and I have a couple of spares because basically you don't have to throw these away. You just gotta clean them up and put them together again, and they should work. So it's pretty awesome. So there. I hope you all have a great week, and I mean I'm gonna post videos during the week, so it's not gonna be complete silence, but yeah, next week more on the cat painting. Thank you very much for being there and for being funny and nice in the chat, and I really appreciate it, and I hope to see you next week. Bye bye.